When viewing a SAS dataset within SAS System Viewer, you can quickly sort the data by just clicking on the variable and then selecting this sort either ascending or descending order. I'll click a couple times for you to see. Now, if you want to do multiple variables, that's when it's not as easy. For example, if you want to first sort by the subject ID, and then within the subject ID, you want to also sort by the dates, for example. So I then click on the dates, and notice that it sorts the entire date, so it scrambles my subject ID. So this is useful for a quick sort if you're doing only one variable at a time. But if you want to do a compounded sort, it's a little trickier. In Enterprise Guide, you can click on the column that you want to view, but there's no quick way of sorting it by the original dataset view. The alternative way to sort this is click on the Data menu here and then select Sort Data. This shows a different dialog box that allows you to choose the variable you wanted to sort. For example, you can choose the subject ID as the first variable and then the start date as the second variable to be sorted by, and then click on Run. This actually creates a new view of the original dataset and then applies the sorting first by the subject ID and then the second variable being the start date. If you look at the process flow, you can see that you still have the original dataset that's not sorted and then a view that applies the sorting. So going back to the original data, you can apply a filter and sort option here through this menu. This filter allows you to select which variables you want it to display. So for example, I just wanted to display these variables and the start and stop dates. So this is a filtered view of only the columns I want to display, along with other options. Sorting is one of those options. So I could first sort by subject ID and then the start dates. When I run that, in a similar way, it creates a separate view, and this view has the first subject ID sorted and then the start date being the second variable sorted. Going back to the process flow, you see the original data is not sorted, but we applied these two different sorting options. The third and last way that I use for sorting is using the query builder. So in the query builder, you first select which column you want it to include to be displayed. I did a shortcut by dragging all the variables in the entire data set. You can select specific ones too. And then you select on which variables to be sorted by. For example, the subject ID and the start dates, and then click Run. This, in a similar way, creates a view that has the first variable subject ID sorted, and then the second variable with the start date sorted. So in summary, you can see that the original dataset is not sorted, and you can apply these different methods to sort the data by creating separate views that contain the sorted dataset. This has more options than the SAS System Viewer. It just requires a few more steps.